There was a death threat incident as well as some fan altercations. Can you talk about some of that stuff?
Yeah, it was crazy. I didn't think much of it back then. Again, my mind is just so focused, right? I remember, for example, Charleston, South Carolina. We were going to Ivan and I were going to Charleston, South Carolina one night for a show, and the office informed us that they had received phone calls and death threats that if the Koloffs showed up in Charleston, they were gonna kill us. And Crockett's like, just beef up security, and they had the sheriffs meet us at the county line and escort us to the building. Had extra security at the building, and then escorted us out of the building to our cars and back out to the county line. So that was interesting. And then the first time I ever got attacked by a fan in the ring was my match against Ric Flair, my very first ever match against the Nature Boy, Great American Bash, first one ever, 1985. And that's really kind of a crazy story too, in this sense. I broke into the wrestling business in June of '84, and in 13 months, I'd become World Tag Team Champion, a World Six-Man Champion, and now I'm wrestling Nature Boy Ric Flair in the grand, this massive match called the Great American Bash, first time ever, 25, 30, 35,000 people, main event, and talk about an accelerated path to stardom. It was crazy, and to think about when I think back on it now. But that night, David Crockett was the special referee. Ivan was in the corner ringside with me, and we were well into the match, and Rick's on the mat. He's down. I see David Crockett out of the corner of my eye, and I see Ivan down on outside the ring on the floor, and somebody's got me in a waistlock, and it kind of caught me off guard. I'm like, it took me a minute, and I'm like, Flair, Crockett, Ivan, who? There's got to be a fan. Oh my gosh! And so then I started, trying to reach for the guy. Like if I went this way, he went that way, and if I went this way, he went that way. He was like ducking me. Now I'm trying to get it, but he's got me kind of pinned up against the rope, kind of leveraged against the ropes. And at first, I think the cops, they're like, I guess they thought it was part of the act, part of the show. And then at some point, they figured out it's not part of the show. And then they look like the Keystone Cops rolling in trying to get this guy. When they eventually do get him out and the match continues, it's out there. Somebody told me just today, actually. It's out there somewhere, YouTube or somewhere, WWE Network or something. But and that was the first of a half a dozen attacks, mostly against Flair, but also Magnum TA as well in his hometown, Norfolk, Virginia.